Welcome to Combo. Basil here with the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active and the Sony Xperia Z. The Sony Xperia Z is Sony's flagship for 2013. The Samsung Galaxy S4 Active is a refresh of the Samsung Galaxy S4, packing IP67 accreditation, which means you're going to get water and dust resistance, which is pretty sweet stuff. The Sony Xperia Z packs IP57 accreditation, so you already have water and dust resistance out of the box. The Xperia Z packs more classical styling with its glass front and back. It also looks a little bit more classical. We'd be more inclined to pull this one out at a dinner table, for example, or a dinner party. With looking like a Bravia TV, it looks very elegant and refined. The more industrial looking Samsung Galaxy S4 Active has this grille at the back. It's got what looks like bolts. It's really quite aggressive looking, and that's because it's going to be much more hardy than the Sony Xperia Z. We'd be much less scared to drop it, for example. Three front-facing, three physical buttons below the screen, micro USB port under a flap on the base on the right side, power button on the left-hand side, a volume rocker up at the top is a headphone jack, and on the reverse is that 8-megapixel rear-facing camera. On the Sony Xperia on the Sony Xperia Z, you've got the power button and a volume rocker on the right side. Left side, you've got a micro SD card slot and a micro USB port. Micro SIM slot, is under a flap on the right. Up at the top, 3.5mm headphone jack, also under a flap. The headphone jack on the Sony Xperia, on the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active isn't under a flap. Down below, no buttons or ports whatsoever. Both of these phones pack full HD displays. The display on the Sony Xperia Z isn't quite as punchy. Both are LCD, however Sony's panel that they've used just quite clearly isn't as fantastic when it comes to viewing angles or head-on color saturation. Looking inside, and Sony's user interface is really nice and clean. You've got a host of applications Sony preload on it and some tweakable settings in the notifications bar, but otherwise the interface is pretty light. It is light compared to TouchWiz. TouchWiz is very, very heavy. You have a whole load of options that you can tweak. In the notifications bar, for example, loads of applications. You can see Samsung really goes to town on it. The only area Sony really goes to town to the same extent is when it comes to themes. If we, for example, swap out the theme to a ruby red color, we can see it's changed pretty much everything about the phone in terms of look and feel. If we unlock the phone now, for example, our lock screen wallpaper has changed to something which is complementary to the user interface. All the highlights have changed, etc. So anyone who likes customizations may prefer the Sony Xperia Z. Samsung's thick and heavy TouchWiz won't be to everyone's taste, however, it is going to give you a lot out of the box for anyone who likes things like S-Health, Group Play, and Samsung Story Album. As far as the cameras go, the 8-megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active hasn't been put through its paces just yet. We're guessing it's a similar sensors found on the Samsung Galaxy S3, so it should be a pretty decent performer. The 13-megapixel camera on this Xperia Z is a decent camera, don't get us wrong, with a fantastic user interface. In fact, if we just jump through to the user interface for you, we can give you an idea of what's so great about it. As you can see when it opens up, we've got a whole host of shooting modes, as well as intelligent auto, which is going to make a lot of shooting decisions for us. In the same breath, the Samsung Galaxy, the Sony Xperia Z really overprocesses pictures, so it's not going to give you the type of picture quality you would expect from a 13-megapixel camera. Both competent. We're guessing the Sony Xperia Z might be a little bit better, but don't take our word for it until we get the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active in for review. As far as internals go, quad-core devices across the board, 1.9 GHz on the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active, and it's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 600, 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 on the Sony Xperia Z, so we're quite a bit behind on Sony's model. So if you want power, you want 3D games, both devices will be pretty good, but again, Samsung's just that little bit better. The rumoured Sony tablet coming out with Sony phablet, or large phone, depending on how you want to term it, is rumoured to come out with a Qualcomm 800 processor later this month. So hopefully that will really bring Sony up to speed. But as it stands, it just can't compete with a Qualcomm 600 in the in the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active. Both devices have 16GB internal memory, both micro SD expandable, 2600mAh battery, 2300mAh battery, LTE across the board. All in all, really impressive devices. Samsung Galaxy S4 Active may be that one for anyone who wants a little bit more oomph and a little bit more of a rugged phone. The Sony Xperia Z, however, looks a whole lot better, has that design edge. We'd be inclined, as we said, to pull this one out of our pocket at a dinner table. Thanks for watching Recombu. I've been Basil with the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active Sony Xperia Z. If you've enjoyed this video, click like. If you have any questions, fire them in the comment section below. And if you like our channel, just click subscribe.